5. Strangeways, with its bad reputation, cold its walls, and scary trademark tower looming over the main road into Manchester. If I found Forest Bank a mindfuck, well, Strangeways was set to be something else again. Although to begin with, on K-Wing run by 6'2" Sergeant Major type Bertie Bassett. The best and funniest senior officer, or SO as they are known, I would ever work under. Things weren't too bad at all. Well, once we cleared up a few misunderstandings, that is. You can read about that and other escapades in my first book, Strangeways, a prison officer's story. But just in case you, like me, are from Yorkshire and therefore too tight to buy a copy, do not fret. A swift recce to remind you of how the jail is laid out is coming soon. On many of those landings over the next 11 years, I went toe-to-toe with prison reality. Took a few good bumps and bruises, and worse. I also learned to appreciate dynamic security, a vital skill set now sadly out of fashion, where staff communicate and interact with prisoners ethically and professionally, making sure they're kept occupied with useful activity, while at the same time staying in the loop with what's afoot on the landings. A lot of that has been lost in recent years due to the cost-cutting, falling staff numbers, and politicising that has put our prison service in crisis. Oh, and there was one Strangeways unit, healthcare, where poorly inmates were sent. Mentally incapacitated residents upstairs, outpatients down. I moved on to its landings in November 2008. Over the next 7 years, we locked up and cared for some of the baddest, saddest, and most notorious criminals the UK has ever produced. On healthcare especially, officers and the nurses and nurse managers we work with copped the lot. Deaths by hanging, incidents of extreme self-harm. Stressful doesn't begin to cover it. It was enough to rattle anyone's marbles. And when the time came to leave, and I was shunted to A-Wing, that coincided with a period of so-called modernisation that, in 2015, totally wrecked both the Strangeways routine and my own mental health, disastrously so in both cases. For me, the end came on the servery one dinner time in a blaze of red mist. I'd only been there a week and a half. A prisoner kicked off, attacking the SO and a female colleague of ours on the wrong side of a locked electronic door. It took ages to open, but once it was, and I was able to get through, I lost my rag. Afterwards, I could hardly remember a thing about it. Both my knees and right fist were a mess. I displaced a knuckle, but the guy's face was in worse shape. Even so, it didn't stop him threatening staff and generally playing up for another 3 days while he was kept caged in a special cell. I'm not proud of what I did. It was unprofessional behaviour. And up to them, professionalism was something I prided myself on. It's well documented that I didn't get on with everyone. I admit it. There were lots of people at Strangeways I didn't like. However, it's a tough job, no question. And sometimes respect is more important. But after another injury on D-Wing a few weeks later, and a lot of to-ing and fro-ing recompensation with the powers that be, it was in the end decided with medical consent that my many years as a prison officer in Strangeways or any other such institution were through. If I thought that would be the end of my problems, though, I couldn't have been more wrong. Even at home, I couldn't stop losing my rag. Very soon, I had ridiculously high blood pressure and panic attacks. But then, during Christmas 2016, I dug out my prison diaries, the sort in which every officer details their shifts, picked up a pen and decided to get it all off my chest. The response to Strangeways, a prison officer's story, amazed me. You might not remember me, their messages all start, which I find quite moving. Everyone has a story, don't they? We want to be recognised as human beings, not animals. Although there were a fair few of those in Strangeways too, as you're about to hear. The message